Hello and welcome to Sunday Politics, the nation's flagship political show. I'm Kayode Okikilu, sitting in for Shinwa Kimbaloye here in Lagos. Well, it's 138 days to the presidential election, and every single minute is important for the political parties and candidates who will be seeking to win your hearts with their manifestos. Every moment counts, and for you, the voter, who's looking to make the best choice amongst the many offerings, time is of the essence. And tonight, as always, we take you into the heart of the political landscape to help your decision making ahead of the elections. Well, it was a big day for the ruling All Progressives Congress APC here in Lagos today, as supporters of the party held what they described as a 5 million man march in support of its presidential candidate Bola Tinubu and the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who is seeking a second term. Well, the early morning heavy rains had earlier threatened to disrupt plans for the rally organized by the chairman of Lagos State Parks and Garages Management Committee, Musiliu Akinsoya, popularly known as MC Oluomo. But then the rain subsided and the march kicked off from the Teslim Balogun Stadium in the Surulere area of the state and terminated at the popular Oshodi area.
Inshallah, both Sanwo-Olu, Ashwaju, and all candidates of APC, all local government.
Well, there you see the organizer of the rally, Musiliu Akinsoya, also known as MC Oluomo. He largely spoke in Yoruba language, but that was just a snippet of some of the statements he made. Well, the party says it has made a statement as to just how much support it has here in Lagos State and, by extension, Nigeria at large. But that's one leg of the conversation tonight. What about the person, the manifestos, the policy plans of the party's candidate, the internal party affairs of the APC? Now, these are some of the things we'll be taking you through tonight as we speak with our first guest on the program. Mr. Tijani Tumsah is a former interim secretary of the All Progressives Congress and is a coordinator of Tinubu Shetima Support Group Northeast. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Thank you, Mr. Tumsah, for joining us on the program. It's good to have you. Now, for the sake of addressing the elephant
this evening.
Right. Now, for the sake of addressing the elephant in the room, you were in the news at some point alongside your brother over the ownership of some 86 exotic cars. Now, the case was before the Federal High Court in Abuja at that time. Can you tell us what became of that matter?
Well, actually, I thought we were going to discuss... I can't hear you.
Please go ahead. I can hear you.
Hello? Yeah, oh, okay. I thought we were going to discuss the political dispensation of the leading up to the 23 elections. But as for that matter that you asked for, it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, of course, discharged the issue because it was political blackmail by a political nobody who is no longer currently in the service of the government or in the APC.
So clearly, that it would seem that it casts a shadow of doubt on that Chief Okoye Bono Obla's presidential investigative panel. Am I right?
Clearly.
Okay. Well, this is quite vital, really, to the conversation tonight, because that is part of, I mean, the heart, the promise that your party, through President Buhari, made before coming into power, the fight against corruption. So it's important to help Nigerians understand just how that fight is going. And your case was a particular one in that instance. But let's talk about your party now, the instance we saw today. Well, your party's showing in Lagos has been said to be the mother of all rallies. And at this point, it's looking like it's really a contest of who can pull the most crowd. We saw the Labour Party just last week doing its October 1st rally. Now we're seeing your party doing its rally. And I just wonder, was your party threatened by the Labour Party's showing last week such that he thought, let us do something to show that we at least have some following here?
Well, okay. The APC rally held in Lagos, I think there's a time gap in between what I'm hearing and what I can relay back to you. But in any case, the Lagos rally signifies the popular ground swell of opinion towards the APC. And of course, this is not going to be matched by any of the other political parties. As you can see, this sort of rallies can also be duplicated and replicated in many states of the Federation. The APC as a party has a great groundswell of support from the generality of the public in Nigeria.
But the question is, were you threatened by what the Labour Party pulled off in Lagos against what some will say all odds? I mean, the court processes, the showing by the police and all of that. Was it important really to show that maybe Lagos is a stronghold for the APC after what we saw last week?
Well, Lagos is an important stronghold for the APC. And by no means was the APC threatened by the previous rally carried out by the other political party. And I can assure you that rallies can be held by parties as much as they want, but it is the party with the most public support that will, of course, turn out the most number of people on the streets.
So we can infer that the fact that you have, I mean, perhaps thousands of people marching as against the 5 million march, it doesn't necessarily translate to support, really, for your party or any other party at that.
Well, it is an indicator. It is an indication of support. But I can also assure you that the ground game, the door-to-door movement, the support groups that are all over will bring out the difference in terms of voting capacity or the votes garnered by the political parties as we go.
Now, we'll come to your area, the north. Right, we'll come to your area, the northeast, subsequently. But, you know, seeing these crowds during political events, people wonder, where are these people coming from? Who are they? How did you summon such crowd? And, I mean, it's been said time and again that there are ways and means to achieve it. So if you could just enlighten us, as someone who understands the political landscape, just... it's never too late, really, to track campaign spending, and that's why I'm asking, just how much usually is spent on transport, feeding, other logistics for such magnitude of events, getting people en masse into, you know, that area, marching across street? Just how much, what kind of financial implications does it have for your party?
Well, most of the spending is voluntary. The key point here that you need to keep in mind is that the APC over time has had to do registrations and also congresses and elections going into establishment of the party. Now, registration of a party member indicates that he must come to a registration center and register his membership of that party. Now, these party members can always be relied upon to show up for events like this and for also voting purposes. So it is very, very difficult for a party that just comes out of thin air to garner as many people as we can as a party in APC.
You know, some of the things, when we saw the Labour Party's rally last time was, you know, people saying we were not paid anything. We're not given, according to them, shishi, which is a term that means money or what have you in the Nigerian parlance. So can you boldly say for your party as well, for this rally, the ones we've seen in previous times, and perhaps the ones to come, especially in your area of influence, can you say of a surety that people are not usually given sums of money either for transport, for feeding, or whatever logistics, just to be a part of such rally?
Well, rallies like this, like I would like to reiterate to you, are done voluntarily. Now, if people individually contribute to a successful rally like this, then money would have been spent. However, most rallies are done voluntarily, and they are done only on the basis of call-up. Like I said to you earlier, members are always ready and available to show up for party events, a party in which they believe in.
If I get you correctly, Mr. Tumsah, are you saying that, well, yes, these people get monies either for transport, for feeding, but it does not come from the party, it comes from individuals who fund these events?
It comes from individuals, party cells, and also self-sacrifices by members of the party.
Right. I guess, as I said, it's never too early to track campaign spending because it's going to be a long journey up until 2023, and it's important we get this right this time around. But still on Lagos, I'd like you to speak to this.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, I know for political actors, you have a view, an overall view of, your strengths, weaknesses, some sort of SWOT analysis, as they say in the corporate parlance. For Lagos is quite peculiar because in terms of population, it's diverse. It's a melting pot of Nigeria, some would say. It has a huge young voting population, and it's been said that young people perhaps want to change, something different from the APC and the PDP. So just how sure of you that Lagos is in the bag for your party, the APC, seeing the trends of the young people, the fact that it's also a melting pot of people from different ethnic backgrounds?
Well, in politics, it is difficult to say anything is in the bag until the day the election votes are counted. But we have an indication that Lagos is within an area that we can rely on to support the APC. And history has shown also that that is what happens in Lagos. APC wins elections in Lagos. That is not to say that there won't be good showings by some other parties, as has been happening in the past. However, in every single state, issues matter. Issues that bring people out to vote would always be the decisive instruments by which people vote. And I can see APC having this edge in most of the states in Nigeria.
All right. We'll come to the nitty-gritty of that. But staying with this campaign, the rallies and all of that, it's a very important point. Because over time, we've seen reports, images of people talking about violence, people saying they were injured by a supporter of this party or that party. And just a few weeks ago, we saw, candidates, presidential candidates coming out to sign that peace accord. Well, your candidates sent a representation who's a vice, but we saw them signing nonetheless. And the question is, the candidates have signed, but the supporters and all of them were not there. They didn't put pen to paper. They're not a party to this. Just how much does it trickle down to the supporters such that they know that, yes, we didn't sign, but we're also a party to this peace accord. So we don't see images, stories of this one attacked me, this other one didn't attack me, and all of that. The question is, are you, impressing that on supporters of your party that violence is a no-no?
Oh, well, definitely. A candidate signing for a peace accord indicates that his followers also agree to that signature he appends his name to. Now, it does not mean that every member of the party has to sign that peace accord. The peace accord is a significant instrument by which all parties agree to nonviolence. Now, every party now cascades that signature and that instrument to all its members. But of course, sometimes you will have people who are either taken over by emotions or by other things to become violent. But that would also mean that the parties that sign the peace accords will have nothing to do to defend such a person. Mm.
But what is the position of your party then on anyone who employs violence, anyone who hurts another, party supporter or what have you? What is the position of your party? Is there a mechanism to deal with that decisively?
Yes, there is the disciplinary committee in each cell of the party at each level that will deal with non-compliant members who may want to resort to violence. APC does not condone violence in any form. We have the belief that Nigerians are leaving that behind. They are moving on to more issue-based instruments of making their political expressions known.
Right. So let's get into your game plan now, ahead of, 138 days for the campaigns. How do you convince Nigerians, really, that your party is serious and well put together? You're yet to begin campaigns. PDP starts officially tomorrow. You've not inaugurated your campaign council. Even during the primaries, you had to wait for INEC to extend that deadline before your party could then conduct its convention that eventually brought up your presidential candidate. So how can you look at Nigerians amidst all of that and say, well, we're serious and we're well put together?
Well, we are serious and we are very well put together, actually more put together than any other party in the arena right now. By not having an inaugurated campaign council, by the way, the campaign council has been composed and awaits inauguration for the necessary campaigns. Like you said, we have 138 days more to go until the election day. A lot of things happen in a party that could have some stoppages to planned events. The APC, I can assure you, is more poised for political campaigns going forward.
Help us understand this. If you're really ready for this, well put together, as you say, why haven't you been able to inaugurate that campaign council? As I said, other parties are, they've already hit the road, as they say. We got a date of tomorrow as the inauguration, but it's been shifted yet again. And this is not the first time that we've heard shiftings and shiftings. Don't forget the letter that was leaked, which was eventually, said not to be from your chairman and all of that. So clearly these are signs. And even members within your party have said, yes, we agree we have challenges. So the question is, how can you, in spite of all of that, still look to Nigerians and say, we're a party that is ready for you to govern this multidimensional and multi-challenged nation?
We are a party that is ready for this. We want to get everything, every single detail right. You see, in a political party structure, every granular event has to be planned, every granular appointment has to be made appropriately without having discourse to what happens in other parties, for instance. Now, I don't know why it is a matter of great concern if the party has not yet inaugurated a campaign council that has been composed for. It does not mean that the party has not started working or started campaigning. You yourself mentioned the rally that happened in Lagos. That happened without the campaign council in place. And many other things are happening without the campaign council in place. And we would inaugurate the campaign council and things will fall into place and we will coast on to garner the most votes in 2023 elections, inshallah.
But how can you truly say that, you're campaigning? What we saw was a rally. We didn't see your presidential candidate. We didn't see his running mate. And that's what rallies are, essentially. Seeing the presidential candidate, his running mates, other leaders of the party, addressing people and saying, these are the plans we have for you. So is this a plan, doing the campaign by proxy?
Well, you see, in a political party, the presidential candidate is not the sole person that is responsible for leading the party. All members of the party are responsible for pushing the party's agenda forward. Now, what you have seen, whether the presidential candidate is there or not, that is why I was surprised that, you mentioned the presidential candidate not being at the signing ceremony for the peace accord. It is not necessary that he should be there. The party is a grand organization of individuals and people from across the nation. And the leadership of the party does not comprise of only the presidential candidate, if you get what I mean. So now, the APC as a party is an organized structure that has registered members, that has a leadership structure, that is able to carry on a campaign which it is prepared for going on to 2023.
You said categorically that your presidential candidate does not need to be present at such events. And I mean, if we could just extrapolate, if he becomes president, is that the same thing we'll hear? That he doesn't need to be present at meetings or in the country for that? Isn't that a sign of what is to come if he's elected as president?
No, it is not. You know, if you try to twist the issue, you forget what the structure of governance indicates. Now, you have deputies, you have representatives in all spheres of your responsibility. Ability to delegate is a good sign of leadership. Now, if he is not present in one event, it does not mean that he is absent in all events. And why that should be flogged to a basis of an issue. It is an event that was duly represented by the All Progressives Congress via its vice presidential candidate, distinguished Senator Kashim Shettima. And nothing is wrong with that as far as I can see.
Well, you said that your party has started campaigns. You said that, saying that what we saw today was a showing, a campaign in itself. When you said that he doesn't need to be at such events. So I'm asking that if we were to extrapolate, will that be your statement to, if he were to be president? And don't forget that Nigerians have gone through this phase yet again, and it's been a major issue, especially in the build-up to this campaigning. So just to clear the air, just what events will he be showing up for? So Nigerians know, okay, this is where we'll see the presidential candidates, but this one, we won't see him.
The president will decide, the presidential candidate will decide at which events he will be at, and those events that he can be appropriately represented, he will be. And by the way, the rally you saw in Lagos, there was a composite rally also held elsewhere. So the presidential candidate doesn't necessarily need to be at both places at the same time. Now, there are a multiplicity of events that happen. You do not expect that the presidential candidate will be at all events at the same time.
But will he be visiting the 36 states of the Federation, the FCT, during this campaigning period? Will they be at every state to campaign?
Yes, he would. He was in every state of the Federation for the primary election campaigns, and he will be at every state election, every state of the Federation for the general elections.
Right. So just, the message of the...
I'll mark that.
Right. So we'll just hold that in one hand. Now, the messaging when he shows up to the people, how would you...
What is going to be in your other hand?
Well, that's the question I'm about to ask. So how would you face Nigerians, your candidates, who are going through tough times, and give them hope? Say that, you know, I'll fix this, especially for those who see your party's policies as responsible for their current situation. How would you stand before them and give them hope yet again?
The manifesto and the program of events that are going to unfold going towards the 2023 election would indicate how the APC intends to make things better as a form of governance for the nation. Now, Nigeria is a country that needs a unified vision. This unified vision is translatable into the APC program. And I assure you that that is what you're going to see going forward towards the 2023 election.
And you said that your candidates can make things better. Certainly, it would sound as though you're describing the current situation of Nigerians as good. Am I right?
You are right. You are right, because what is happening is that the APC has been able to stop a slide from going any further. Now all we have is nowhere to go but up.
Right. So if you say that the situation of Nigerians is or are good, if I could use that expression, I mean, Nigerians would have that to internalize. But I mean, your area of expertise, if I could say that, the Northeast, the candidate of the PDP, some would say is quite strong in the Northeast, coming from Adamawa, saying that that's in fact a stronghold for him. So I wonder, saying that, I mean, your party has, well, the vice from the Northeast, how do you plan to take that region such that, I mean, you can overpower the support which the PDP presidential candidate says, I have in that region?
Well, he says he has, and we say we do have, and we've proven that we do have. Now, like you know, it is at the end of the day that you get to know who has or who hasn't gotten any support in any particular region. But I can assure you that in the Northeast, the APC is the most dominant party, and you know that will be obviated when the elections happen.
Well, it's a period of the usual brickbats, and just for, I mean, to respond to this, the PDP presidential candidate spokesperson equated your presidential candidate to a drug baron. It was a tweet he put out, and I wonder what your response to that will be.
That is not kind of him, and I think that is the politics that we need to start avoiding. If you don't have any reason to call a person who is aspiring to be a presidential candidate such names, somebody who has had the occasion of being a governor, a senator of the Federal Republic, and so on, and a leader of a party, and you are just blatantly calling him names, I think that is exceptionally very rude and uncouth. So he should probably get some better perception and home training before he faces the public to start describing people in that kind of a language.
Mr. Tijani Tumsah is a former interim secretary of the All Progressives Congress, and he's currently the coordinator, Tinubu Shetima Support Group for the Northeast. Thank you so much for your time on the program tonight, Mr. Tumsah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.